We're getting really close to the start of the Eagles training camp. So I think today it's time to start looking back at football. Who is going to win the NFC East? Who is the beast of the NFC East? That's what we're going to start with. And of course, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Phillies bullpen blow another game last night. Jordan Romano blows another game last night. What the fuck are the Phillies doing with the bullpen? Trending in the AM. We're live, taking your thoughts and opinions in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter, you know the drill, wherever you're watching. Hit that like button, hit that share button, of course, subscribe to the STT Sports Network YouTube page. We'd greatly appreciate you doing each and every one of those things. We're live here every morning, 8 a.m., talking all things trending in Philadelphia sports, but also taking in your opinions into the matter. That's all that matters, your opinions. That's it. Everything here, I set the conversation. Your opinions are what matter. We discuss your opinions. Make sure you also vote on the poll. Who wins the NFC East in 2025? Obviously, I got the 4 NFC East teams listed there. I have a feeling this show will have a lot of Eagles votes on that, but we're going to dive into it anyway. We're going to discuss, the ins and outs on how and why, and maybe the Eagles will or will not win the NFC East this year. We're going to compare the Cowboys and the Giants, the Commanders' off seasons, and see if there's any glimmer of hope for any of the other teams in the NFC East to potentially win the division. We're also obviously going to talk a lot of Phillies today. While we were sleeping, Jordan Romano blew another save, another game for the Philadelphia Phillies last night. Walk-off inside the park home run. Who knew that could even happen to end a baseball game? Yeah, but we all knew it was going to happen or end that way. So great, fantastic. So we got lots to get to, so make sure you hit that like button, that share, the subscribe, and vote on the poll right now. I'd greatly appreciate it, guys. Content check. Yes, Eagles, Phillies. I was right on time, my man. Right on time. And even if I was late, it was precisely the time I wanted to show up, just so you know. I did say the F word because, you know what? Fuck the Phillies bullpen, plain and simple. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? Hurts is elite. Absolutely. I'm so happy that bum Phillies team lost it. Dude, Pump Man, at least I'm willing to not waste my time and stay awake late for that because it was not even the end of the second inning. I was like, I'm out. I'm not even giving myself up for that late night. Good morning, Duck. How you doing? Mike in the house again, bright and early to talk about those frustrating Phillies games. But remember, don't be negative at all. They're still the best team or third best record and blah, 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 blah. No, get the F out of here with that. It's embarrassing watching that Phillies team try to claim to be World Series contenders. It really is. Can't support any team with Dave Dombrowski. Yeah, the guy has definitely lost his cojones on building winning teams. That is for sure. Bazoon Hoot morning to you as well, K1. Good morning. Someone voted for the Cowboys, probably TMC. We do have one vote for the Cowboys so far. All the other votes are rolling in on the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, we know is our bullpen an issue. Yes, we know it. Yet still, Dave Dombrowski hasn't done anything. Still has not done a thing to address it. He's going to wait till the last possible second. And you waste it. Taijuan Walker going out there and throwing 4 shutout innings last night. Now, I don't want to say good or bad things about Taijuan Walker. Whatever about Taijuan Walker. Not 4 shutout. He did give up 1 run. Sorry. But I got mad respect for Taijuan Walker. Being bounced around nonstop. Bullpen, starting, bullpen, starting, bullpen, starting. Long guy, short guy. And you know what? He's held his own. He's done his best. And you know what he's done? He's been the utmost consummate professional with the Phillies this year. And I have mad respect for him. I stayed up late for shit show. Yeah, well, you're an idiot, Steven. Yeah, fuck the Phillies, basically. Good baseball blows. When is the NFL? Well, training camp starts in less than 2 weeks. I'm fired up for it. That's why we're talking Eagles today as well. The Phillies are solid, but I'm not convinced that they win the World Series or get past the first round. The Phillies are a great team, great regular season team. They're going to blow a lot of games like last night, and they're going to win a lot of games in exciting fashion, even more than they lose. But when you got to still trot out Jordan Romano every single week, you got problems, man. All birds. Gotcha. They need at least another starter. And it's an unpopular opinion, Adam. I said it, and I know some will disagree. But the Phillies do need another starting pitcher for down the stretch. Not for the playoffs, but down the stretch for sure. I know Phillies can beat anyone, but in a 7-game series, I don't trust them either. Mike, you are valid in thinking that. You're validated in believing that. It's pretty weak. It's the fact that, and you see Jeff Hoffman and Carlos Estevez having solid seasons in their new cities. They signed a combined like 22, 23 million in their contracts. But we trot out there Jordan Romano, Dombrowski, trying to be the smartest man in the room by getting a guy like him for $8 million instead. But you know what? I blamed Rob Thompson just as much for last night because Kirkring wasn't available, supposedly. So then you manage the game and you manage the bullpen differently, so you're not putting Jordan Romano in the 8th inning to get 5 outs to save a game. It was 5 outs, right? Yeah. Rob Thompson is just as much to blame. You pulled Nick Castellanos for defensive replacements at times, but you didn't do it last night. Just as much of the blame on Jordan Romano goes on the person that puts him in this position to fail. The blame on Nick Castellanos playing that ball off the wall poorly goes to the person putting him in a position to fail. Dave Dombrowski is to blame for putting Rob Thompson in a position to put other players in a position to fail. It's a complete organizational failure right there. Sell at the deadline. Well, they're not going to. Everyone must go, but they're not going to do that. That's a conversation for another day. But yeah, Thompson won't change. He's stuck on Romano and won't go away from him. Exactly. Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again. Remember, he did have like a 2.5 ERA in the month of May. I'm not even a bunch of crap other than that. But that month of May tells Rob Thompson and Dave Dombrowski that he's a good pitcher and he could turn it around, right? Dave is getting worse than money. Yeah, like Dave Dombrowski has been a failure in Philadelphia. Is it crazy to say that Dave Dombrowski, his tenure in Philadelphia, has been a failure? What move has he made that's just so outlandishly great? I mean, at least you could say, for as bad as his predecessor was, Max Kepler, at least he brought in Zach Wheeler. San Francisco has our number every year. I can't stand it. We lose so many games out in San Francisco. It's kind of sick, Mike. I don't know what the problem is with going out to San Francisco and playing out there, but the Phillies just seem to always lose out there. And this week has been no different to start this series. No different at all. It's a damn shame. It really, really, really is. But this is what we're stuck with. And for some reason, Dave Dombrowski refuses to be aggressive earlier on. Like, we've seen this situation unfolding since March when the season started. But yet he continues to just be patient. He wants to play his cards and see what happens and wait till to the deadline. No. You could be changing the culture and emotion and energy on this team by making moves now or 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago when you knew there was a problem. But no, he's just waiting. He's being patient. He's keeping it close to the vest. No. Don't make a move right now. Jordan Romano should just be instantly cut right now. But they won't do that. Dombrowski has been terrible. Worst thing to happen. I don't know if he's the worst thing to happen, but he has been very terrible. No emotion by Topper. Just sit there with his... Look, I mean, he's Canadian, Adam. Canadians are never mean to anybody. Canadians are the nice guys, right? So maybe that's the problem. Just never hire a Canadian to be the manager of your sports team ever again. Dombrowski and Thompson has to be gone if we don't make it to the World Series. I mean, it's a conversation to be had. What's the limit that they have to make in the playoffs before firing them? Is it the World Series? Is it the NLCS? I don't know. But I have no problem in getting rid of them if they don't make it to the World Series, Doug. I have no problem getting rid of them right now, honestly. But, Dave has built a great starting rotation and a terrible lineup, bullpen, and defense. They will lose the division and get bounced in the first round. Well, I mean, the division's still open. They're still going to make the playoffs, and they're still going to win over 90 games. There's no doubt that, in my opinion, obviously, Anthony. And yes, their rotation is great, but honestly, is it that great? I mean, they got Wheeler, and he didn't bring in Wheeler. They got Sanchez and Ranger. I think Ranger was here before Dombrowski, so he gets credit for bringing in Christopher Sanchez, most likely. Jesus Luzardo, who goes this afternoon. I mean, it was a good move, but he's leveling out. Aaron Nola, he gave a horrendous contract extension to, who's hurt now. Mick Abel hasn't fully developed. Andrew Painter's not ready. I mean, we've got one of these great starting rotation, ERAs, but it's because of the top three that it's so great. 4 and 5 are just, for as great as 1, 2, and 3 in the rotation are, 4, 5, 6, 7 are just as bad. I mean, just think of it this way. We're still going with Taijuan Walker starts right now. That tells you how bad the rotation is. I told you before, sorry we have to have too many white guys in the lineup. We need more brothers. We've talked about it. And I said that it's deeper than just the Phillies. It's a culture thing with baseball and how they market to different, things. And obviously, we don't have a lot of Latinas and Asians and stuff like that, which there is a lot of those in baseball, but brothers in general just don't seem to be gravitating towards baseball in general. But extra, not a lot coming to Philadelphia. I get it. I just hope they don't trade Crawford for a pitcher. Kid is the center field. I absolutely agree. I keep hearing rumors that they're shopping him around. That would be a big mistake. But again, I won't complain about it if it's for the right person. You find me an elite closer that's under team control for the next 2 years. Everybody's tradable. Again, we've had this conversation a million times on this show, Mike. Name me one prospect that we traded away in the last 20 years that became a superstar. Logan O'Hoppe might become one. That's about it. Carlos Carrasco was a solid pitcher, but nothing great. We traded away dozens of prospects that were untouchable, can't miss, and none of them turned into anything. So if Crawford gets you an elite closer that's here for a while, you do it in a heartbeat. Crawford, bring the brother up. He should be up right now. There's no need for Rojas here. There's no need for you can move Brandon Marsh to left field, who's actually been really good this year since his injury. Put Crawford in center field, and you got your outfield locked. Do it. How many times this season has Romano been asked to go get 5 outs in his 30-plus showings? Absolutely zero. Just about. But Kirky wasn't available. What else could he have done? He could have managed the game differently, is what I'll tell to everyone that says, what else was he supposed to do? He wants to be Daryl Morey. Well, he's tap dancing on the front door of becoming Daryl Morey. Thompson did stand up to poor umpiring, and then what is he even doing in the dugout? He's not doing anything. If they win the World Series, fire top anyway. Now that Adam is interesting. I love that. I love that. Where's Rick to see that comment right there? Dave won with the Tigers. He had right players there when he got there. Yeah, Dave. I would have to double check. I know he made the big trade for Miguel Cabrera, but I'm not sure what else he did with that Tigers team. If the Phillies win the World Series, they won't change a single thing. Absolutely. If they make it to the World Series, they won't change a single thing. If they make it to the NLCS, they probably don't change a thing. Phil, you give the Phillies an out. There are plenty out there, but we rather pick up the frat boys than dudes. Well, I mean, I'm not giving them an out because I agree with what you're saying. I just think it's a bigger problem than just with the Phillies in general. But yes, the frat boys, that's basically what you're getting at. The way I look at it is a different story of Bryce Harper getting his way and Bryce Harper making a lot of the decisions. He wants his friends here versus, what's best for the team. That's the JT Realmutos of the world, Bryson Stotts, etc. So that I get that, the daycare and stuff like that. I get that aspect of it. J.P. Crawford ended up being a solid player, not a superstar. I think he won a Gold Glove, J.P. Crawford, out in Seattle, but solid, nothing special. But really, trading prospects the prospects are different in baseball than any other sport. They're chips at the poker table. Has the World Series of Poker made the money bubble cracked yet? I know they were getting close last night. They're just poker chips. Okay, so you trade them if you got a chance. The Gruden Tampa Bay theory, yeah, exactly. I'm still angry about the end of that game, man. I want to throw my TV against the wall. I want to San Francisco, yeah. Big Al, anybody that wasted their night staying up that late should have that same feeling, basically. Why won't more brothers help the Phillies? They must know baseball stinks. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. He'll come in at some point, I'm sure, and say it's okay that we're all being too negative. All this baseball, I know exactly. I have a great football topic today. I have a football poll: who wins the NFC East? I'm ready to talk football, but everybody wants to talk baseball, so I go where the people send me. I'm coming after GM Bryce. He's his friend group blow. And it's been something I've wanted to talk about. We've hinted at a little bit here and there. At what point do you stop making decisions on your team based off of what one of your players wants, instead of just doing your job and building the winning team? It's more frustrating than depressing because they are a solid. Exactly. Buffalo Bison's is only baseball. Yeah, you don't even have a real baseball team up there. We see where this is. We know where it's headed. It's no different than the Sixers. We know where it's headed. We one of the best brothers in the farm right now. Justin is right there. And they're not calling him up is not because he's a brother. They're not calling him up, A, because of stubbornness, not wanting to admit they were wrong about Max Kepler or Johan Rojas. But they also don't call him up because the Phillies are regulars at delaying calling up minor leaguers to save money. That's a really big part of it. The later you call them up, the extra years of control you get over them in arbitration. It's a weird rule in baseball. Trade Kepler and Crawford in a package. We need change. Well, Kepler's got no value in a trade. So that's that there. I want to crap on Huff. I'm ready to crap on Bryce Huff, too. Bring it on. Bring the crap on Huff. Whatever you got. Dump it out. Help me crap on Huff and see. Absolutely. I still haven't had a chance to fully digest the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson comments to see how real they were. Huff is a bum. Well, he is now, for sure. Talk about how VJ Edgecombe is sitting out games and pinky contusion. I read a report, Brian, that the Sixers are under investigation for tanking summer league games. It's just a rumor. No hard evidence yet, but they might be tanking, and they might lose a draft pick in the future because they're tanking games. And the league might force Daryl Morey out of the city. I can only pray. We could be talking Scotty Scheffler at the Scottish Open. We can. You take Scotty Scheffler this week. I proved last night on the show it's very difficult to build a DFS lineup this week with Scotty Scheffler. What a-hole says that crap when you get a ring and weren't good enough or buying in to actually play? Yeah, I mean, Bryce Huff, like, I get it. He's out of the city now. He can speak his mind. But the dude was a bum. And him saying, I knew right away I wasn't going to be a fit. Well, you know what? Right away, you should have learned to become a fit. Dude, you were literally given $50-some million, and you were a healthy scratch in the damn Super Bowl. That's how useless you were, Bryce Huff. The hell? Rodgers already said this is probably his last year. Who? Aaron Rodgers? Good riddance. Give me Crawford. Let's go. Exactly. I think it's fixed. You put Brandon Marsh in left field every night. You put Justin Crawford in center field, and you got Nick Castellanos in right. That should be your outfield going forward. Find another bench bat for the playoff run, and find me 3 relief pitchers right now. Rob should have gone with Ross in the 7th and saved Strom for the 9th. Exactly. You look at the way they did it, you could have done things differently. I blame the game and the bullpen and Jordan Romano's failures on Rob Thompson, putting him in positions to fail. VJ doesn't need to play. He showed he could ball. Let the other kids show. Absolutely agree. I'm just kidding. I mean, obviously, they are tanking summer league games. They did win one last night because they heard the rumors of them tanking. So they went out there and won a game last night. What the hell? Tanking summer league games. What? I'm just kidding. It's a joke. Who was worse after they left, Reddick or Huff? Well, we don't know how Huff's going to be after he leaves. Reddick was just see, at least Reddick had multi-years of success before and during his time here. Bryce Huff, at this point, Bryce Huff looks like a one-hit wonder. He had one good year out of 4 or 5 years in the NFL, and that's it. This fan base is so cooked. We're talking about load managing an 18-year-old. We're just joking about load managing. The guy had 28 points on 27 shots. We need to see him improve his shooting. Brian, you said that, and then later in the show I tried to talk about it, and you weren't in the thing. I don't know, but in my humble opinion, his 3-point shot does not look smooth. Needs a lot of work. He's got his elbow flares out a little bit. It's a little herky-jerky motion. Not smooth at all, his 3-point shot. But again, he's going to be a talented player. He's going to have time to develop this season. You don't risk injuring him in a summer league game. You give kids a chance that aren't going to be on the team or that are trying to get film on tape, a chance to play and earn a roster spot in a G League. Feeling Ludwig Oberg this week. There's a lot of people starting to grow on Oberg this week. I'm not there just yet on him, but his game does translate to what should fit theoretically if his putter can be hot and not cold like that. What was it? Was it the Masters when he missed all those putts? Was it different? Or was it the Players? If his putter could spike in the good direction, Oberg would be a good play this week for sure. CJGJ says he felt betrayed by the Eagles. You get a ring and pay raise, and you complain they traded you because of money that you kept to keep. Yeah, but the real Chauncey Gardner-Johnson thing is what did his girl, his baby mama or whatever, did like a live video saying he took a hit out on Malik Neighbors? Like what? Where did that come from? DC Defenders are national champs. It's the only championship Washington, D.C. will ever see. Reddick seems to can't stay on any team he gets on. Not even look, and the thing with Hassan Reddick is, if you really think about it, before he played for the Eagles, he played for the Cardinals. And 2 years before he left the Cardinals, he was already stirring up drama there. There were rumors 2 years prior to us getting him of being interested in him because the Cardinals wanted to move on from him. In Carolina, they wanted to move on from him because he stirred up shit there. Hassan Reddick is a great football player, well, was a great football player, but he is a locker room cancer type guy. Bryce Huff knows he was a one-hit wonder and is trying to change the focus. Mentally weak. Yeah, he knows it. I said it the day we signed him, and I broke down his sheet that he could potentially be a great player, but very potentially could be a one-hit wonder. I kept talking about he only played 40% of snaps with the Jets and this and that. Knew it was coming. Huff had one great season, which got him paid, and 4 AK to solid. I don't even know if they were solid. They're 4 okay at best. Huff is back with Robert Saleh, so I wouldn't be shocked to see him. He was with Robert Saleh for a few years, and he only had one good year. Exactly, Phil. These fans be making excuses for the idiotic Sixers. Look, we don't make any excuses for them. Like, I don't need VJ Edgecombe playing in Summer League at all, even the one game. We know VJ Edgecombe. Summer League's like preseason games. Just in football, you don't risk anybody getting hurt in them. We've had a lot of bad luck with injuries in this city with the Philadelphia 76ers. He's not going to be expected to take 27 shots in the regular season. Well, except for when everybody goes down with injury again, but that'll be a different subject. In theory, we don't need him taking 27 shots. So he's got time to work on that. His athleticism is still there. His hustle, heart, desire to be a player seems to be there. The shot will come. The shot will be worked on. I don't need him getting hurt. I want to see the other guys get opportunities. Speaking of golf, what happened to the golf course on Route 1 bypass? What? Oh, Lochnairn? Lochnairn went out of business a long time ago. They shut that down like 2 or 3 summers ago. UFL expansion walk? What? Who cares about the UFL? How many courses this year have we said Oberg game fits well with? He's failed me too many times. Yeah, look, Oberg I was sure was going to win a major this year. Now, I don't even know if he wins anything this year. CJGJ seems to have problems sticking on a team also. I understand with his talent levels. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. 5 teams in 5 years. Texans, Eagles, Lions, Eagles, Saints, Falcons, Saints. What's that say about a guy at his talent level where he plays on 5 different teams in 5 years? VJ is also playing with G League players who never played together. 27 shots shows me he will attack We need that more than anything. Who cares if he plays in July? Exactly. That's my thing. He attacks, he gets to the rim, plays defense. We don't know what VJ Edgecombe is. He could be a bust. He absolutely could be a bust. But I don't see the value in playing him 25 minutes, 30 minutes a game in every summer league game. Played once, took 2 games off. He'll probably play once in Vegas, and that's about it. It's, you want him to. So hold on. We're gonna go both comments here. Attacking. How come he only had 3 free throws against G Leaguers? So again, you want him to play against the G Leaguers, but you also can't give him credit for anything he did against G Leaguers because they're just G Leaguers. So what good is he going to learn? What's he going to learn playing against G Leaguers? The biggest thing that would come out of him playing a lot is him getting hurt. He might be a bust. He might be a stud. Who knows? But I'd rather him learn in camp. I'd rather him learn, getting 20 minutes off the bench early in his career, 15 minutes off the bench early in his career. I don't need him learning in the summer league. Smash that like. Absolutely. I don't know how many likes we've got, but please, if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. And we got a poll question going. Who wins the NFC East in 2025? The Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, or Giants? Nobody's voted for the Commanders or Giants yet. All but one person have voted for the Eagles so far. I do want to talk NFC East a little bit today as well. And we're so sure we're going to repeat. We're so sure we're going to repeat as the division. Okay? Everyone thinks the Commanders are going to fall down. The Cowboys stink. The Giants stink. But I asked the question. Remember, it has been since 2001 through 2004 with the Philadelphia Eagles, the last time somebody won this division back-to-back years. That's over 21 years. It's 21 years of not repeat champions in the division. That's not like 5 years. We're talking 21 years in a row of non-repeat division winners for the Eagles, NFC East. So are we so sure that this is the year that the Eagles repeat and break that 21-year streak in this division? I think it's a fair question to ask. And I know we're an Eagles channel, a lot of Eagles fans on this channel. But the fact that nobody outside of one troll voted for the Dallas Cowboys, I think it's a question. I think it's a fair question. Definitely getting Jimmer Fredette vibes, from VJ Edgecombe? Hey, Jimmer Fredette went over to China and became a stud. Didn't he? A superstar, right? Fredette was the BYU kid, right, K1? I want to say it was, and then there was and Brandon. It was Jimmy Fredette and Brandon Davies on that BYU team, right? I think I'm really digging deep into my college basketball knowledge there. I think Pumper is our version of WWIP. That's a lot of no. I think Pump's got a lot of valid feelings on this. This is not like his Jalen Hurts hate from years before. I understand what he's saying. I disagree with what he's saying, but I understand what he is saying. I see the same things. I just feel differently about how to figure out whether they're concerned or not. Getting hurt, scary. Look. Can you blame Sixers fans for worrying about injuries? I mean, have you not watched anything over the last 5-10 years with this organization? I think we're extremely validated in being concerned with injuries with the Sixers. You are the balance. I hold all Philly sports content creators. Hey, and I see what you're saying. I do. I'm just not using Summer League to figure out the answer to your question, to your worries. It's not going to be the Cow Pies. People saying sophomore jinx for Daniels, but the commies are going to be a problem. I like the Eagles to repeat, though. Freddie, I agree with you. I think the Cowboys take a step up. I think the Commanders stay where they are. The Giants, I've been doing research. The Cowboys are only projected over under at 7.5 wins. Commanders only 9.5, which is crazy. The Giants, oddly, are 5.5 wins as their over under. I think the Giants win 5 or 6 games. I think the Commanders win 11 again. And I think the Cowboys are right around 9 wins. So it's going to be a push for the Eagles this year. Giants will be better than we think. Cowboys, my question with the Giants first, and we'll get into the other things. How long do they ride it with Russell Wilson before turning over the wheels to Jackson Dart? So doing my research for the Eagles pin poll, and I did a preview of each team this week. John Mara said this offseason, it better not take too long because I've just about run out of patience talking about Brian Dabble and Joe Schoen, the GM. So do they run out of patience quickly, fire those guys, and just turn it over to the kid? Cowboys, if healthy, look solid. Exactly, it's a big if. Cowboys are just like the Sixers, if healthy. They gotta hope that Booker can replace Zach Martin. They added Pickens to CeeDee Lamb. They still got Micah Parsons. So they got a team. Brian Schottenheimer being a first-time head coach, that's a concern there. Commanders, barring a sophomore slump. I think the Commanders, I don't buy the sophomore slump talk with the Commanders. I don't. VJ Edgecombe is cool and all, but more important news, did you see Bronny James cooking in Summer League? I did not. Did he cook in Summer League? Hey, good for him playing in Summer League, okay? 27 shot tells you he isn't afraid to shoot. Would you rather him be afraid to take a shot or pass too much? And out of those 27 shots, 7 were three-point shots, I believe, or 8. It was like 1 of 7, 1 of 8. So his three-point shot still needs work. But he was able to get his buckets other ways. Yeah, we always need more thumbs. We always need more likes. Let me reset this real quick. No new subscribers. We're only at 10 likes. Are you kidding me? How is there only 10 likes on this video? There have been 15, 20 people watching most of the show. We got 10 likes only. If you haven't hit that like button, do so right now. Did Daniels get a weapon? Well, they added Deebo Samuel. That's an improvement if he loses the fat suit. My issue isn't the gaining of Deebo Samuel. It's the fact that Terry McLaurin is frustrated with the contract situation. And there might be a camp hold out there. Drama like that just doesn't happen in Philadelphia. So there's that. Players get hurt more this generation because they play less games at full speed. I think there's something to investigate why. Or did these injuries happen just as much back in the day? And because of the lack of social media, we didn't really talk about it as much. When I was growing up in the 80s and early 90s, were there just as many injuries? We just didn't discuss it. Daniels is with the Colts and looks like might get the quarterback. Daniels is with the Colts. What? Daniels. Okay. You have to condition your body to fire at all times. That's why two-a-days were so valuable back then. Yeah. I do miss good old two-a-days, Lehigh or Westchester practices for training. I miss the good old watching the players check into the dorm rooms, bringing their TVs into the room. I do miss that. Dan Quinn isn't a good coach. You'll see. Well, he was a damn good coach last year, K1. He put a different culture there in Washington. So whether he's a good coach or not, we'll find out, okay? Even with Dallas, Washington, and New York getting better on paper, I still don't feel like they have enough talent to win the NFC East. They will need injuries to play a factor for one of them to win it. Look, I think the Eagles' schedule is more difficult than people realize. Very early in the season, very late in the season. If it's close, we have 2 games in the last 3 weeks against the Washington Commanders. If it's close, both those games are going to be meaningful. I think the Eagles win the division. But I fear that I'm saying that because I'm a homer, because I'm an Eagles fan. I think Washington is going to push us very hard. And I think if every ball bounces the right way, Dallas could push us as well. My biggest concern with Dallas isn't the players, it's the coach and the GM. Daniel's got Deebo. If he got one good year left in him, this is it. If he doesn't come out looking like Poppin' Fred. Look, the Eagles and Commanders have 2 different philosophies on building their team. The Eagles are staying young, taking care of their young players. The Commanders are going out there and trading and bringing in a bunch of old, aging vets. We might have one of the youngest teams in football. They might have one of the oldest, despite having a second-year quarterback. It could work out great for the Commanders, and they can all be healthy for the whole year. I don't have faith that Deebo, Laramie Tunsil, Zach Ertz, Bobby Wagner, all these guys play a full 17. I'd rather he not sit out games with a pinky contusion. Maybe he really legitimately has a finger issue, Brian. Maybe he does. They might be using it as an excuse and playing it cautious, but maybe he really did hurt his finger. Deebo is a bum. I mean, possibly. Yay, we're up to 11 likes. We've got 14 people watching right now. So that means there should be at least 14 likes on this video, if not more. If it was a split, we'd all be. He's got Diva Deebo and Scary Terry contract issue. Yeah. 80s and 90s players played hurt and they had better drugs that were, they played with concussions. They got, watch, what was the movie? Movie with Al Pacino and Jamie Foxx, a football, Any Given Sunday. And how they would just dope those guys up to get them out there. Can you give me one more drive, whatever? Seriously, major concussion. Yeah, we'll just close it. We'll hide that. There's a lot more hiding of things back in the day for sure. Ron Rivera brought a new culture to DC too. They figured out he wasn't good. That's true. It's a fair point. Not exactly, Phil. We have way more Achilles injuries now than ever. Not conditioning the body enough. Very well possible. And you know what? But the counter to that is Allen Iverson didn't have to condition himself. He didn't have to practice, and he still went out there and played. He played injured a lot. So maybe some of those guys weren't conditioning themselves. Allen Iverson, case in point there. Jane Daniels is my favorite quarterback now that Rodgers is leaving. Well, that's silly. Debo got that Harold Varner third physique. Very few people will understand that, K1. But I understand that, and I find that extremely funny. Ertz is old. What's Ertz now? 36, 37 years old? Good morning, Little G. Hope you're well today. Means weed, Phil. Real weed, not THC. Gotcha. Sid Vicious is on the rise. He'll be starting. Hold on. Oh, I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about Sidney Brown here, or Sid Vicious with, but you're talking about Sidney Brown. He will be the starting safety. It's going to be one of the major camp battles. Who starts at safety? Is it Brown and Reed, or is it Makuba and Reed? We're going to find out. We are less than 2 weeks away, Pump Man, from learning this kind of stuff, starting to learn about that kind of stuff. Maybe if they stop quadrupling down, signing 38-year-old players, we wouldn't have to be so afraid about injuries. That's the Sixers. The Commanders are pulling the Sixers. They have not resolved contract yet that I'm aware of. He is their most stable weapon. He is getting older. He's like 29 years old. He wants to be paid like Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. I don't think the Commanders want to pay him that much. They probably should. But yeah. Phil Allen was generational. Yeah, he was. He's one of the greatest players of all time. I thought you were saying Phil Allen. I'm like, who's Phil Allen? No, you're calling me Phil. Allen was generational. Absolutely. One of the greatest players of all time. Allen Iverson, to me, was so generational, not just as a player, but as a cultural icon, as a personality. He changed fashion. He changed attitudes. He changed the way people looked at basketball. He changed so much across the board, not just on the court. Can you name a player outside of Michael Jordan, maybe, that influenced so much outside of basketball as much as he did basketball? Allen Iverson's right up there, one of the top 5 most influential basketball players of all time. Now, the only thing Roger brings is his political takes. Aaron Rodgers can go away, plain and simple. Sidney Brown has to change how he plays to get a starting safety position. See, here's the thing. There are battles outside of safety in camp. Cornerback with Keely Ringo, right guard with Tyler Steen. There's a lot of positional. Not a lot. Trot Jr. starting until the other linebackers come back. They're all bad. There are battles there. But all of them, except for safety, it's the current person listed job to lose. It's Tyler Steen's job to lose it. He would have to be terrible to lose it. Keely Ringo would have to be terrible not to be the starting cornerback week 1. And so Trot Jr. would have to be terrible not to start next to Zach Bond week 1. Sidney Brown, Andrew Makuba is the only position where Sidney Brown's the incumbent because he's been here, but it's neck and neck. I think that's the closest position battle there is so far. Dennis Rodman, absolutely, that's a great. I think Dennis Rodman influenced more off the court than on the court. I mean, he was a really good defensive player, but yeah. Commies let go of Dotson, young first rounder, 2 years. Yeah, they should. That's a great point. Can you imagine if they had Jahan Dotson still at wide receiver? Very interesting point there. Curry is the most recent influential player. It's a great point. He definitely changed the way the game played, and he's a part of the reason why people think it's cool to pull up from the logo to shoot 3-point shots and whatnot. Definitely in the conversation for influential basketball players for sure. Shaq does a lot outside of basketball, even when he played. Yeah, Shaq's very influential as well. I don't know how much he influenced change-wise. Like, he influenced you to buy things, for sure. I mean, Shaq does sponsor like 9,000 different products. So he got you to buy things. But did he change the way people acted or dressed or whatnot? I mean, he was a bad rapper, a bad actor. I don't know. Has more Super Bowl rings in the commies. Yeah, it's true. That's true. Good point about John Dotson as well. If it wasn't for injuries, Penny Hardaway was on his way to being one of those players. Dude, I still remember the Penny Hardaway commercials with little mini Penny, with the little ventriloquist doll. What was that, a Sprite commercial or a Coke commercial? I don't remember. Maybe it was Pep. I don't even remember. Maybe it was Mountain Dew. Penny Hardaway was something. One of those guys when I was a young man, I loved watching play basketball. I just wish he stayed. That era had talking about those eras, I mean, Penny Hardaway injured a lot. T-Mac injured a lot. Grant Hill injured a lot. So I guess in that era, there was just as many injuries. Different injuries, but injuries. No, I have never signed up. That's a good one. You made me choke on my coffee there on that one. No, I have never signed up for the General because Shaq told me to. I have also not ever signed up for Cure Auto Insurance because Kyle Schwarber or Tyrese Maxey told me to. So, yeah, very interesting there. That's a good pull there. Hold on, I need another sip of coffee. Let's see if you can follow it up and make me choke on this one. Anyway, let's swallow that this time before I choke on it. But anyway, back to the Eagles here. Jason Williams, a.k.a. White Chocolate, would have been more influential in today's social media. Another guy that got injured way too soon. Yes, absolutely. I still say Icy Hot is a good product. I hate the smell of Icy Hot. I really do. If someone's tuning in for the first time right now, they're like, what the hell is going on in the conversation? Since the algo's dropping big time on this show today. What are we up to? We're up to 14 likes on this video. It's not that bad. Guys, make sure you vote on the poll. Who wins the NFC East? Why has it been? What does it say about the NFC East? And why has it been since 2004, since this division has seen repeat winners? Is that a knock on the division being bad? Is that a knock on the division being competitive always? What caused this 21-year drought of repeat NFC East winners that is making me question whether the Eagles will win the division? The Eagles are going to make the playoffs. The Eagles are going to be in the Super Bowl, in my opinion. But does it matter if they win the division and finish in the 3 seed or play as a wild card? I don't know. As long as we get into the dance, right? That should be what matters, right? We're not giving free ads to all these companies right now. Chris Webb and the Michigan Fab Five for sure were influential. In college, were they really influential in the NBA? I don't know. I do. Shows that it's the best division of football. Always competitive between at least 2 to 3 teams each year. Yeah, I think that's really what it is. I don't think it would be the other way, that we're a bad division. It is a very competitive division. Do the other divisions have such diehard rivals like Giants, Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles, Giants? Like, all 4 teams just utterly hate each other. And all 4 teams, the players circle these dates on their calendar as soon as the schedule comes out. And it means a lot to beat those opponents. So they battle it out so hard all the time that we always end up with. I mean, back in the day, when I would write the Eagles win-loss with my prediction, I would just give us 3-3 in the division because the odds are that was what was going to happen. And then I would go from there. I see your comment, last comment, K1. You're not getting me to say that out loud. No way. You'd have to pay me to say that out loud. 21 years in a row. But yet everybody assumes the Eagles are going to repeat this year, that this is going to be the year that changes. And it very well could change. I'm not saying they're not going to win the division. I'm just saying, I don't know. NFC East as a group have had more upheavals in coaching and front office in that time frame. As a group, okay, yes, because the Eagles had Andy Reid around for a long time. Even the Eagles in that last 21 years. I mean, we've had the Howie Roseman have been around for a long time. Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson, Andy Reid. And we've had quite a few coaches there as well. The only real consistents are Howie Roseman and Jerry Jones, really. Shaq must have gotten better offers from ICI. Will not say it. Not saying it, K1. Not saying it. We were called the NFC least for a long time. We were. But not anymore. And there's a reason. I really wanted some Commanders fans and Cowboys fans to creep in the show to give me reasons why they think, because Commanders fans, my ref the district guys, I know they think the Commanders are going to win the division. They think probably they're going to win the Super Bowl. I know Cowboys fans are delusional and probably think they're going to win the division. Maybe not the Super Bowl. There's got to be at least one Giants fan out there that thinks their team's going to be good this year. Replace Edgecombe on the Summer League roster with Andre Drummond. Could we just get rid of Andre Drummond, please? We don't need Andre Drummond anymore. But Andre Drummond will be around for a while. I look at this division that the Eagles are about to, embark on another journey against. And I also look at we got the Cowboys spread out week 1, week 12. Giants are week 6 and 8. So that's weird. 6 and 8, 3 weeks apart for 2 games against the Giants. Week 16 and 18 against the Commanders. We really passed on T-Mac 2.0 for Wish Westbrook. We were never getting, I'm assuming you're talking about Jason Tatum. We were never getting Jason Tatum, ever. It was never going to happen. I think Jaden Daniels will have a sophomore slump. I know, I've said it 100 times. I do not think Jaden Daniels has a sophomore slump. You got to look, everybody that says he's going to have a sophomore slump is basing it solely off of one thing, Adam, that C.J. Stroud supposedly did. But everyone forgets that C.J. Stroud had an injured and awful offensive line last year. His best wide receiver went down. His running back went. There were so many injuries on that offense in general and bad play around him that caused it. And he still won the division. Okay? Now, Jane Daniels could have, in theory, a sophomore slump if we got our first Washington Commanders vote. Hey, how about that? If Deebo Samuel goes down, Zach Ertz is too old, goes down. Laramie Tunsil, I think he led the league in holding calls last year, does that again this year. There is, in theory, a way that happens. But it's not because Daniels isn't going to be a good quarterback. The sophomore slumps come from C.J. Stroud and potentially Daniels because of things around him. Danny Ainge has done a lot of things right. Absolutely. And finagling us for a draft pick to take Fultz was that. If we don't trade and we stay at 3, the Boston Celtics still take Tatum at 1. Lonzo Ball still goes to the Lakers at 2. And we still get Fultz at 3. And we keep one of our first-round picks. The farce wasn't passing on Tatum. The farce was losing a pick to get Markelle Fultz. That was the crazy thing. If we face Commanders in the playoffs again, do you think they take over the Hard Rock for a second time? I love it. The guy is sitting out games because he broke a nail. Man, you're harsh on the pinky contusion. You're real harsh on the pinky contusion. I love it. I definitely think Daniels is definitely going to get exposed some this year. I don't know. I think it's and it's not a knock. I'm not saying it against you. I'm not trying to knock on you. I think the sophomore slump assumption on Jaden Daniels is a lazy take. I really do. Because it's being based off of something that's not understood. Tunsil sucks. He might suck now at this point, honestly. NFC North is up there. Vikings, Packers, and Lions are competitive. And the Bears are supposedly competitive, too. Do they hate themselves as much as us? How Washington's O-line shakes out will tell you how Daniel's season goes. Exactly. And hold on, let me pull that up, pull my notes up. I think let me see here something. They did, Josh Connerly Jr. to improve that line, along with bringing in Laramie Tunsil. They've tried to improve the offensive line, Nooms. Will it work out? We don't know. But they have made moves to address the offensive line. Is he? Maybe. It's possible. Not downplaying the Commanders' success last year, but there was some luck that went. See, the thing is, and I hate the luck argument pal. Because there's luck with every team. I mean, we won a game because which was it the Panthers game? Because a wide open receiver dropped the pass. We lost the Falcons game because Saquon dropped the wide open pass that was in his breadbasket. Luck happens every season. Injuries happen. Luck happens. Bad calls happen. It happens. You can look around the league and probably every team has one or two games they won or lost based off of a lucky play. I know you're gonna say the Hail Mary play, right? Maybe VJ and Jarrett spent time picking out their favorite nail polish and rather stop. Don't make fun of the nail polish. I'm a big Jarrett McCain guy. I love his personality. I do. Not just sophomore slump. Teams have more tape on him now. I know. And he's a super talented guy. And I don't think he is as good as he looked last year. I wasn't high on him coming out of the draft, and I looked foolish for saying that, Anthony. So, yeah, there is more tape on him. But they have a lot of continuity. Their coaches stayed the same and stuff like that. They've added to the roster. They've addressed their weaknesses. Time will tell. But assuming they're going to have a sophomore slump, I don't know. It might play out that way. But I'm not predicting a sophomore slump because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for now. The Commies O-line will be going through a lot of icy hot this season. That they may. All indications are that if Painter comes up, he's going to the pen. Third time through the lineup hasn't been good. Yeah, look, Andrew Painter might be. We were kind of against the bullpen Andrew Painter thing. But if you need him this year, that might be the way to go. He's obviously struggled this year, coming back from Tommy John surgery. First full year in AAA. He has not pitched well this year at all, especially later into his outings when he gets that 60, 70 pitch count. So maybe you put him in the pen for this year. Maybe. Or you just let him stay in the minors, and continue to work on stuff. And then make him part of the rotation next year. Phil, you a point guard pinky guy, most valuable polish. Oh, my God. Stop. Don't make fun of the guy because he likes to paint his nails. Shameless plug, Philly Press Box Radio. Hall of Fame baseball writer Paul Hagan tonight, 7 p.m. right here on the STT Sports Network, 7 p.m., guys. Make sure you check out Chet and Bill. Obviously, good morning, Chet. Hope you're well. Always great when you have Paul Hagan on. Great baseball mind there. Ask him, what should they do with Andrew Painter in the Andrew Painter situation? Would love to hear that. There's also a lot more pressure on them this year to get back to the championship game. They are now the Hunt. Big difference. Now here's something. The Commanders last year, new head coach, new owner, new system, young rookie quarterback. They exceeded expectations. They had no expectations. It's a lot easier to succeed with no expectations. When the expectations are placed upon you, like the Commanders now have. Commanders fans are talking Super Bowl, right? They're the hype. Jane Daniels, not the Eagles, not Jalen Hurts, the MVP, the Super Bowl champions. They're not the hype. Daniels and the Commanders are the hype now, right? So there is a lot of pressure. And maybe Jane Daniels collapses under that pressure. I don't know. Now, K1 said that Dan Quinn's a bad coach. I'm leaning to think that Dan Quinn will keep them together and close and that they won't be bad. We'll see about that. But now this, I can understand this theory right here. Dave said that Painter will not be used in the pen this year. He did say that. Dave Dombrowski also told us that he built a championship bullpen. And Dave Dombrowski told us to have faith in Max Kepler and whatnot. So I don't believe a word Dave Dombrowski says ever, and neither should you. But they also said that he had to earn his way into the big league club, and he's not earning his way to the big league club now. Not at all. So Andrew Painter probably shouldn't get the call up at all right now, let alone that. Guys, you're watching Trend in the AM. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, that share and subscribe. Vote on the poll. Who wins the NFC East right now? Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders all have votes. Giants have no votes. No one has any faith in the Giants. Russell Wilson. When I was doing my research on the New York Giants for the Eagles Pinpoll Podcast Network, that episode drops tomorrow. I think today was the Commanders. I know yesterday was the Cowboys. And when I was doing my Giants research and I was thinking about Brian Dabble and Joe Schoen and how do they still have a job? And then I saw John Mara's comments of, again, better not take long because I've just about run out of patience. What do they have to do? How does Russell Wilson save that team? At least, I mean, Russell Wilson does have, you know, Malik Neighbors, good young player there. They drafted Abdul Carter. They probably have the best defensive line, interior defensive line with Carter, Burns, and who's the other one? Dexter Lawrence. They got a stud top front three on that line. I'm just thinking, can the fact that the Commanders are only projected at 9.5 wins, but the Giants are projected at 5.5 wins is kind of crazy to me. Can the Giants maybe improve to 6 or 7 wins? Probably not. Most likely not. But could they? I don't know. They have a really tough stretch early in the season. I think like week 6 or 7 is their first winnable game, which tells me that they might be moved on from Dabble and Showing already and handing the reins over to Jackson Dart, which would then tell you to take the under. Phillies fans are worse than Ben Simmons fans. Yeah, probably. Not saying Quinn is a bad coach, but he gets less than optimal performances from a very good talent. I think it's just the discipline and the culture that he brought in. Painter's not coming outside of an emergency. Too risky for the future. Fair. Just like Rivera. Yeah, riverboat. Not even riverboat. Paddle boat Ron, right? Wilson will get the Giants to 500. 9 wins is not impossible. You can't be 500 in football. 9-8 or 8-7 or 8-9. That's it. I guess you can go 8-8-1. Would that be considered 500? 8-8-1. I don't know if they'll get that far. Is it impossible? No. But you got Russell Wilson. When I was recording the Giants version of the Eagles pin pull that'll drop tomorrow, I asked a question at the end of it. Is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer? I think so. But then you look at his numbers and you're like, he was really good a lot, but he only had like 1 or 2 super elite seasons. I think Russell Wilson becomes a Hall of Famer. But should he be? I don't know. Giants still don't have an offensive line. They absolutely do not have an offensive line at all. This is the first day since my job title changed that I was able to watch live instead of a replay. Giants are going to be better, but it's the Eagles all day. Yeah. Peanut, good morning. New job. Great. Cool. New job title. We'll have to chat later. I keep bringing up the point that no team since 2001 through 2004 Eagles have repeated as division champions in the NFC East. And we're just assuming that this year's the year that breaks. And I think it does break, okay, this year. But we're assuming far too much. We're assuming that the sophomore slump for Daniels. We're assuming the Cowboys still are going to stink. I don't know. Russ won 10 last year with a Steelers team. He only played 11 games last year, Russ, with that Steelers season. He isn't win 9 games with this terrible Giants team. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. It's debatable where it's going to go. Okay, around 500. Yeah. I would think if all goes perfect, the Giants could be capped at around 7 wins. I think the 5.5 is a perfect number. I would say 5, maybe 6 max, but 7 is possible. I think anything more than 7 is only something you would hear from a Giants fan at this point. You will have to let me know how the Phils do. I've completely switched my attention to Lehigh Valley, Reading, and Clearwater until after the trade deadline. Yeah, at least the Phillies game's at 3:45 today. Good morning, Reality Check. Hope you are well, my man. Is that King of All Media? It's his new title, yeah. Wilson is borderline. He's borderline. He gets in because it's too easy to get in the Hall of Fames on all sports, right, K1? But in my opinion, when you really look at his year-by-year numbers, he was really good. But not elite. He's got a chance to get to 50,000 yards if he has a great season. I think he's like 3,500 yards away from it. It's a question. Nothing to be gained in any type of entertainment value whatsoever from MLB Club. Agreed. What's up, Brianna? Phillies Wednesday won. Win? Because they haven't played yet. Unless you're coming from the future to tell us they won. Tonight we've got Jesus Luzardo going up against future Hall of Famer Justin Verlander, who pitched for the Giants on 4-15 against the Phillies. We got 4 runs on him, and we won that game 6-4. I think Brianna's from the future saying that the Phillies won on Wednesday. So maybe go throw some bets on the Phillies to win since she said so. But, guys, it's the top of the hour. Again, like I said, you're watching Trending in the AM. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Hit that share button. If you all shared this on one social media platform, the subscriber numbers would go up, guys, and subscribe if you haven't already. And vote on our poll. Right now, pretty much one Cowboys vote, one Commanders vote. The rest have been Eagles votes. I really thought it would bounce out a little bit more than that. But vote on the poll. Who wins the NFC East in 2025? Let me get an update. We're still at 546 subscribers. We're up to 19 likes on this video. You guys have rallied together on that like button. I appreciate that. So keep it coming, guys. But back to it. What about the Dallas Cowboys? What about them in the division? Dak Prescott is going to be healthy. You got a new head coach. They've added another wide receiver. Their defense, to me, is more of a concern than their offense to an extent. Their offensive line, the Dallas Cowboys, is a concern. But the Dallas Cowboys have always been a competitive team for the last 5-10 years. Dak Prescott, if used correctly, can be a solid to average quarterback. He's got one great wide receiver, one potentially great wide receiver. You got Micah Parsons, arguably one of the 3 best defensive players in football. Personality issues aside, contract issues aside, he is. It has been 30 years since they've won a Super Bowl. Hell, played in a Super Bowl. Zach Martin retired. They had a solid draft, honestly. Tyler Booker was somebody I had my eye on in the second round for the Eagles. Donovan Eze, defensive end. Sean Revell, cornerback. Jaden Blue, a guy a lot of Eagles fans wanted to be drafted as a running back for the Eagles, or at least mocked to the Eagles at running back. Marty Schottenheimer. Does he bring Marty? No, I keep calling Marty Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer. Does he bring Marty Ball to Big Dallas? I was looking at some of his numbers. His first 14 years in the NFL as an offensive coordinator, he only was in the top half of the league in passing attempts once. But the last 2 years in Dallas, they were top 10 in passing attempts both years. But Mike McCarthy was calling the plays there. So what is he going to do? Is he going to run the Dallas Cowboys in a way that keeps Dak Prescott what he should be, which is a game manager? Or does he make Dak Prescott be the gunslinger that he always fails at being a gunslinger at? I think what Brian Schottenheimer does as the new head coach is the big question to solve what the Cowboys will be. 7.5 wins after coming off a 7-10 win. Jerry Jones can't be happy seeing those Vegas odds at 7.5 wins, in my opinion. You have to think that he has expectations for 9-10 wins this year. Now, he's an idiot, but it is what it is. Dallas let their trench evaluations, especially on the defense side of the ball, falter. Yeah, well, you make a trade for George Pickens, but you can't protect Dak Prescott. You make a trade for George Pickens, but you can't figure out Micah Parsons' contract or figure out how to have a solid. I think the biggest problem for the Cowboys after, I almost said Martin Schottenheimer again, Brian Schottenheimer, is the defense. I mean, you've got one of the greatest defensive players in the NFL right now. And who else? Trayvon Diggs or Stephon Diggs, whatever his name. No, Trayvon Diggs. Like, what else do you got there on that defense? A bunch of Even Donovan, I can't know how, I keep calling him Easy because I can't pronounce his last name. Their second round pick. Didn't he even have like question marks in the draft, like personality or off the field question marks? Or maybe they were injuries, I'm not sure. But Donovan, Easy, whatever, wasn't even the greatest pickup in the draft. There's a reason why he fell to the second round. Now, I will say this, first game of the year, September 4th, Eagles-Cowboys, kick off the season. Let me tell you something. It's going to be a tough game for the Eagles to kick off the season. You're going to have all the pomp and circumstances, raising the Super Bowl banner, rings being given out to the players, national attention, all the extra stuff that's going to go on game one. The Cowboys do have a chance to come out and get that first win. They're not going to. The Eagles are going to win that game. But there is that argument that they can shock us right away, right? It wouldn't affect the Eagles' big picture. But it could build some momentum for the Dallas Cowboys' big picture if they come in week one, beat the defending champs, ruin the celebration, that can help them build some momentum going into this season. No, they won't, but they could. I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate. I think the Eagles win the division. I'm trying to be the devil's advocate on each of these teams that we have to face. They picked all the wrong Wolverines except maybe Jordan Lewis. I didn't look at the entire draft and stuff like that. I was just looking at some of the top players. So I'm not even sure which guys were Wolverines and which ones were not. I just did my research for my 5-minute show I do for Eagles Pin Pull. But again, I just keep going back to the same thing. 21 years since a repeat champion in the division. Who's going to, if the Commanders are going to falter and have a sophomore slump, the Cowboys stink because of the Cowboys, the Giants because they're the Giants, it's not going to be a runaway in the division. So who pushes us? 57 days. Damn. It's this close, Chet. That's why I'm gonna start tapping back into the football conversation this week on the show and next week with Cam. I'm tapping back into it. Yes, we talk Eagles or Phillies and Sixers today, yesterday, tomorrow. But we are 57 days to the first game of the season. God damn, I'm a happy man. Doesn't it sound good to say that? 57. So your birthday is on kickoff night for the Eagles. Happy early birthday to you, Mitch. Damn. How about that? That would be a hell of a birthday. Opening night NFL. We finally going to turn 13, Mitchie Poo? Second place finish followed by another Super Bowl would be hilarious if Washington won the division. Yeah, I could totally see that. We finish second in the division to the Commanders, still make the playoffs, run through the wild card in the divisional round, and beat Washington again and get to the Super Bowl. I was doing my research, and I wrote down all the scores. Like we beat the Cowboys 34-6 and 41-7. We beat the Giants 28-3 and 20-13. We beat the Commanders 26-18, then lost 36-33. And then I wrote down the conference championship game score 55-23. And I just it was the first time I thought about the Eagles Commanders playoff score in a few months. And I just laughed out loud to myself when I was writing my research down. I was like, seriously? We won 55-23? Damn. Why didn't you tell us when it's 69? I know, exactly. So off-brand for Mitchie Poo. It seems like we just won the Super Bowl yesterday. It does. It does. But on the flip side, Adam, I'm perfectly fine moving on and getting ready for next year's Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fully prepared for the next March, okay? We did win the Super Bowl yesterday, did we? Okay. If you picked anyone else other than the Eagles as division champs, you should be ashamed of yourself. Look, I'm picking the Eagles, but there are arguments to be made. The number one argument is 21 years since the last repeat division winner. Right now on this poll, only one person has voted Cowboys and one person voted Commanders. And the Dallas Cowboys, I think, was TMZ, just as a joke because he was the first person in the chat. And the Commanders, maybe a Commanders fan popped in for a minute. And I expected the Eagles to win this poll. I didn't expect them to win it this easily, though. Because I thought I tagged enough other teams that we'd get at least one or two, haters in there. I thought some Cowboys fan would come in here and talk about curl routes or something like that. The margin of victory on their road games last year gave you a glimpse into their potential. Okay? I like that. The crazy thing is the NFC Championship game wasn't even that close. Eagles stopped trying to score. Same thing with the Super Bowl. We basically smoked both teams in the Super Bowl and the championship game. The only real close game in the playoffs was the Rams game, and that was mostly because of the weather, Anthony, right? I know we all saw our lights flash before our eyes when that deep ball was thrown to, was it Puka Nacua, along the sideline in the snow, and he caught it. We're like, oh, shit, we're about to lose this thing, right? Our hearts all stopped, skipped the beat right there. But then we went to the championship game, smoked the Commanders, smoked the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It was a cakewalk. was actually a boring last 2 football games of the season for the Eagles, right? But again, we're 57 days away till the title defense begins. Well, I think TMZ chose the Cowboys because the Commanders' vote didn't come in until just like 10 minutes ago. The Cowboys had a vote right from the get-go in the first 2 minutes of the show. Actually, they might have had the vote before the show went live when he was sitting in the chat saying I was late when I wasn't late. Maybe he needs to check his clocks a little bit. But that's another whole subject. He already dipped because we weren't talking DC defenders enough for him. But whatever, right? Well, it is what it is. But anyway, is it as clear of a path as we think? Here's a way to rephrase it another way. If the Eagles do not repeat as division champions, is it because of another team grabbing the division, or is it because something went wrong in Philadelphia, whether an injury, bad coaching, bad play? Is it the Eagles' division to win, and only the Eagles can beat themselves? Actually, I like that. That's a good post. A good comment. Is the division Eagles to lose? Slay also slipped on that Carter sack. We were just about cooked. Carter is the hero for me. Carter was the hero in that game. Carter made the play. I forget who I was sitting with. I'm like, we need Carter right now. And he went right through the middle and did. Chills thinking of that. Whatever team stays the healthiest will win the division. And the Eagles have been very solid with staying healthy the last couple of years, right? That's my concern with the Commanders, that they won't challenge for the division, is their age on their team, and whether that is what causes them to slip. Dallas was 7-10 last year, right? And Dak Prescott missed more than half the season. And Dak Prescott is better, in theory, than anybody else at their quarterback position. They also traded for Joe Milton or whatever his name is. Backup quarterback there. The Giants aren't going to compete for the division. Maybe they get to 6 or 7 wins. But injuries definitely are going to play a factor in the division this year. All right, we're up to 21 likes. Not too shabby. Still stuck at 546 subscribers, so I don't know what the hell's going on there. I would 100% accept the second-place division finish in a Super Bowl win after the regular season. Absolutely. Now, I know we went on the road to win a game here or there. Was it one game? No. We didn't end up going on the road. We didn't win the number 1 seed, and we still found games at home. You can win or get to the Super Bowl by not having home field advantage, especially a team like the Eagles, with fans that travel so well anyway and make road games home games anyway. So I don't worry about that. Would I like the first round bye? Absolutely. Would I like week 18 to be meaningless against the Commanders for an extra bye week? Absolutely. But it's not a necessity. You want to get to the Super Bowl, you want to get to the playoffs healthy, and then make your run to the Super Bowl. They're the two most important things. Yeah, I think we all agree on that. Absolutely. We said the same thing about the Commanders last year that we are saying about the Giants. Just saying. Right, but there's a difference there. Washington had some pieces. They had Terry McLaurin. They had Brian Robinson. The problem with the Commanders going last year was Dan Quinn and a rookie quarterback. I mean, the Giants, have Russell Wilson. Jackson Dart is not on Jaden Daniels' level. The only thing I'll give the Giants this year is their defensive line. But and to be honest, that defensive line for the Giants is looking pretty stout at this point. A home game advantage is a big thing. It makes things easier in general. It does. Absolutely. I'm not denying that home field does not help. It does help massively to travel, everything. Not only that, I mean, we had that greatness last year where we only had to get on a plane once after Thanksgiving. Between Thanksgiving and the Super Bowl, they had to fly one time. That helps for rest. not getting those big guys on an airplane and stuff like that. It definitely matters. 100%. I'm not trying to discount whether it matters or not. I'm saying it's not necessary with this team. If it would be cool to have 3 road games in the playoffs and pull off what the Giants did. That was an unbelievable. Yeah, it really hasn't happened that many times though, because it is such an unbelievable feat. They do. Yes, they do. Commanders best the Lions though. It helped us get to the Super Bowl easier. Absolutely. If the Lions win that game, then we're facing the Lions in Detroit. And who knows what the outcome would be. The Lions were a great football team. The Lions are still going to be. I think the Lions, who I'm going to start recording on a show, because I'm going to do other teams that could pose a threat to the Eagles for the Eagles Pinpool Podcast Network. Lions going to be the first one I record on that. The Lions' biggest issue this year is the turnover of coordinators. We all know that could pose a threat or a problem. It didn't for the Eagles last year. We had 2 brand new coordinators last year, and we won the Super Bowl. So how the Lions handle losing Brian Johnson and whatnot, or Ben Johnson and the defense coordinator, that's going to be a big question. Our schedule this season keeps us from having any back-to-back home games. Exactly. And our schedule is very front-loaded heavy and tough and back-loaded tough. The Lions just choked. Yeah, they really did, basically. We would have destroyed the Lions. The Lions had a lot of injuries at the end of the season, not an excuse, but that could have caused their downfall. They definitely had a lot of injuries all year long. I think they had something like 17 guys on IL or IR by the end of the season. They lost so many players on their defense. Their offense was relatively healthy, but their defense was just rattled with injuries. Lions injury, they kept winning all regular season despite having 6, 7, 8 guys on IR all season long. And the number over the whole season was close to 20. The number of players they put on IR last year. It was insane. And we're talking about impactful players on the defense that they lost throughout the season. So it caught up to them in the playoffs. Not an excuse. Next man up has to happen when you're at that point. When you win 15 games, you've got to be able to have that next man up mentality. You know, the Eagles with 2 new coordinators was lucky just the year before. We had a major issue having 2 new coordinators, so it was valid. Exactly. They won the Super Bowl with 2 new coordinators, but the year before, they fell to pieces with 2 new coordinators. So which way do the Lions go? Which way did they go? Do they go the 2023 Eagles with the 2 new coordinators, or do they go the 2024 Eagles with 2 new coordinators? So, like the 2011 Phillies, the Lions were on one leg at the wrong time. Yeah. Man. Got to bring up 2011 Phillies. Every time I think of 2011 Phillies, I just reimagine the image of Ryan Howard on the ground, clutching his leg. Side note, as the play was happening live, and I saw the throw to first, and Ryan Howard wasn't anywhere near first base, I'm like, damn, he didn't run that out? And because they hadn't shown him on the ground, crumpled in a heap of pain. Like, he didn't run that out? Oh, he's hurt. Okay. Like, my initial reaction was to blast Ryan Howard there for a second. But every time I think 2011 Phillies, that's all I think about. And it kind of sucks. Not kind of sucks. It really sucks. Like, really, really sucks. How do I feel about Jihad Campbell? Is there reports that he is ahead of schedule, Mitch? Because I have not seen those reports in the last couple of days. I would love Jihad Campbell to be ahead of schedule. I know a lot of Eagles fans have a lot of hype and hope and high expectations for Jeremiah Trotter Jr. This Eagles defense is 1,000 times better if Jihad Campbell's ready to go week 1. No, that's not a knock on Trot. He's just better. Already, without stepping on the field yet. Jihad Campbell is a difference maker, a game changer. Okay? He's that special. I need him. I want him out there. But I also don't want to risk long-term injuries or problems like that. So I'll wait to see. We'll see what happens in camp. Next week, not next week. The 22nd is when camp begins. So we'll know the 23rd how far ahead of schedule he is. Right away. I know. Brings up some bad memories and thoughts. 22 likes. We're crushing on the likes. Now we got to get 22 new subscribers is what we need to do. Vic said he was already doing drills. Well, no, we know he was doing drills in practice, but he wasn't doing like 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s. He was doing very, very cautious drills. Wasn't hitting or like poking at footballs. He was just running around. Like, learn where to be in the right spots and stuff like that. But he wasn't actually doing 7-on-7 drills. The more snaps in the NFL is great for a young player. Absolutely. There are actually people that thought Ryan Howard was initially faking that injury. Were there really? I don't remember that. That was pre-Twitter time for me. So I don't remember that. But that's the only reason why the Ryan Howard contract became an albatross of a contract was because he never recovered from that injury properly. Well, I have to bring up that shit. I know, exactly. Let's move on. Trot Jr. is going to be a bench guy on the Eagles, it looks like. Yeah, that's fine. You can have a role. You can have a role as a bench player on the Eagles and still be a good player, good special teams player, fill in when injuries happen. It's perfectly fine. There's people thinking he's going to be a starter and a stud, and I just don't see that. It's true, Phil. But the Ryan Howard, people always say, oh, it was an awful contract, Ryan Howard. No, it wasn't. He got paid less, Ryan Howard, than Andres Galarraga, Prince Fielder, Albert Pujols. I think he was like the fourth or fifth. It was kind of like Jalen Hurts. Got a big contract, but in the grand scheme of things with quarterbacks, it wasn't that big a deal. Ryan Howard got a big contract, but in the grand scheme of power hitting all-star MVP first basemen, it was minuscule, that contract. And he could never recover from the Achilles injury. You know, power hitter, pushing off on that it just was never going to happen. The contract was signed before that. And he was playing MVP level baseball still. If he doesn't get hurt, we might see something different in 2012 from him and the Phillies. Plain and simple. I'm more concerned about getting our second-round pick signed and in the house. They'll work it out. There's a lot of things going on. I think there's quite a few second-round picks in the NFL that aren't signed. And I forget who it is. One guy set this new precedent of fully guaranteed contracts for second-rounders, and now everybody else is holding out for the same thing. The Texans effed it up by full. Yeah, as it was the Texans guy. Yeah. Now everybody wants it. So it was a bad precedent to set, which we never got into the collusion, the NFL collusion case with guaranteed money. I wonder if there's any ownership collusion going on with these second-round picks right now, and the Texans ruined it. We never got into it. It's too late in the show to get too deep into that collusion case that's going on, where the owners colluded to not guarantee enough money to players. Kind of crazy. Although the Eagles are the only team that weren't listed in that collusion case. Now I'm sad. Yeah, I know. Anytime I think of 2011 Phillies, I get sad. That team should have won a World Series. It's where my hatred for the Cardinals come from. I still blame the Texans. I blame the Texans too. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. It was a nice carrot for first rounders, but to use on the second round. Yeah, look. I mean, at some point, I think at some point NFL contracts will all become fully guaranteed. It's just going to happen. It's not going to happen tomorrow, next year, next CBA. But at some point it will happen. More and more players are going to hold out for the full guarantee. Because the Eagles are wicked smart. They are wicked smart. Howie Roseman is the greatest GM in football. Or owner in Howie Roseman is the greatest GM, but Jeffrey Lurie is the greatest owner in football. P.S. He's the greatest owner in sports right now. He would never do something unethical like collude against his own players to not give them their full worth and value. Like, he would never do that. Like, for some reason, I don't feel like, you got the cool kids club of owners. They all sit around. They're Phil Illuminati table, colluding and planning and plotting how to make another billion. Jeffrey Lurie doesn't sit at that table. Jeffrey Lurie doesn't even get the invite to that table. Fully guaranteed contracts will destroy the NFL like it has for the MLB and NBA. It's possible. It is. It is. But I think it's going to happen. Whether it's good or bad doesn't mean it's not going to happen. That's just my look at it. That's just my way of thinking about it. I thought I had notes written down here. Maybe my notes are in my golf book from last night. Maybe I came up with notes during golf show last night. That's a good one. Let's write that down for tomorrow. So save this one for tomorrow, guys. But last night on Fairway to Heaven, as we're talking to the Scottish Open, Jason, one of my co-hosts on the show, said about two specific golfers that they're gutless losers. Who are the biggest gutless losers in Philadelphia sports right now, present or past? I think Ben Simmons is on that list. Maybe recent times, Jordan Romano. Who are the biggest gutless losers in Philadelphia sports? Interesting. Players like coming here because they get treated fairly on contracts. Absolutely. They may have phantom years, but they will be getting paid. Absolutely. Now, it's always funny that when the anonymous reports on like the grading of like the facilities, the travel, and the organization come out from the players, the Eagles actually get very bad ratings on their traveling, which is kind of surprising that they don't do better. They don't have a specific private jet customized for their players or anything. Like the travel, bad grades they get on travel is always something that's kind of confusing to me or surprising to me. But it is what it is. Like, it doesn't, change that he's a great owner and stuff like that. No new subscribers today. All right, guys, we're going to start the wrap-up process here. So who are the biggest gutless losers in Philadelphia now and in the past? Man, that was something I wanted to bring up earlier, but now it's too late, and I do got to get to work, so we can't have a long conversation on that. So remind me about the gutless loser conversation tomorrow. And we're gonna talk gutless losers in Philadelphia sports tomorrow. It's crazy. That's because they don't spend on private planes because they spend the money on the players. Yeah. Great facility. The NovaCare complex, the bubble, the stadium itself, state of the art. They take care of their locker room, their workout facilities, everything is state of the art with the Philadelphia Eagles. 1,000%. Jeffrey Lurie loves that stadium. Although they have rumored to start a new stadium and stuff like that. Will they ever do it? I don't know if they will ever build another stadium or not. But they may. We'll see. Anyway, guys, it's time to wrap this shebang up for the day. Another fantastic show. If you're watching on replay and you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. Poll question. We got one vote on the Cowboys, one on the Commanders. Everybody else voted. The Eagles will win the NFC East in 2025. We'll see. Time will tell. But we're going to wrap it up today. We'll be back tomorrow. More Phillies talk, more Eagles talk, and who knows what else. Oh, yeah, gutless losers in Philadelphia. That's what we'll be talking about. Thank you very much, Adam. Muchas gracias for your support as always. Muchas gracias to everybody for tuning in. Have a great day, guys. Go Birds. Bubbles up.